You're looking at www.grDatabase.com. What this application does is lets you create databases and put them online so that you can share them with other people. Now there's several predefined databases. This person happens to have books, music, contacts, and non-books. And I think books and music are both predefined. Contacts and non-books are user-defined. So you can either create a user-defined database or predefined. Now, on the left is search criteria. That's what you use to search your database, and on the right is what the table brings back when you search. For example, if we click on this signed, it goes from 804 records to 97 records. So all of these records in this table are signed. Now, what you're looking at is when you're logged in, we're logged in as Featherbottoms, and this is where you manage your books. That's why you have all these options for on the top and across the bottom. Now, when we look at the book, when we find out in this table what we want, and you can sort by title, author, you can sort by any, you can resize the size of these fields, and you can do other things with this table. But when we want to look at the details, we have the Bonesetter's Daughter. We know it's signed, but we double click on that, and when we double click on it, it will show us the details of that book. So here it said Bonesetter's Daughter by Amy Tan, and you can see the details. Now we'll go ahead and close that, and again, if you want to see the details of this book, you double click on it. So we'll go ahead and close that. Now we're going to reset these fields and go back to all records, or 804 public items. Now if you want to only see private items, these are items that won't show up when you send this database to somebody. You have 2,312, or you can show all items, 3,116. And the reason that you can change all of these is because you own all of these records. You may want to have a set, define which set you want to work on. Okay, so we have options across the top. We have Contact grDatabase, which just lets you contact us if you want to. We have Help on Searching, which just gives you a help screen. We have Documentation, that you either have screenshots if you just want to look at screenshots, and here you can cycle through the screenshots, or we have Screencasts, which is what you're looking at now. We'll pause that. You have Screencasts that show us creating a over 3,000 record database in about 4 minutes, and something to show you how to use the image manager and the HTML editor and etc. Other things over here. So we'll just get off of this, close this page. We have a new you create a new database. So here we can have these predefined databases. So we're going to create a database, a kitchen database, and we do that. We click on that, then we click make this database public, and then we say create database now. Now when we create this database, it tells us that it's created, and you can see that we have a new tab, Kitchen, and you have fields in here already. These are the search criteria fields, and then you have across the top table fields. Now we don't really want this database, so we're going to say remove database. We remove Kitchen now, and you see database was removed and it's gone. So now we're going to go back to books. These other options that you have an account option, which shows you, lists your databases, whether they're private or public, and the URL that goes to these databases. That's if you want to share them with somebody, then you send this URL to them. They can put this in their URL window in their browser, or you can embed this URL into your own web page, such as in an iframe, so that you can make it part of your own application. So we'll close that window. We have a marketplace button up here. A marketplace, we have an application called www.grfind.com, and what it is a marketplace consisting of markets and what we call stores inside each market. So this just shows that when someone goes to www.grfind.com and searches for books, this database is included in that search, and the same thing with music. And notice her other databases aren't on here. Her other databases are private, and so they're not searched. So we'll close this window. Now, anytime you can check the integrity of your database by on this bottom row, and it tells you your database is good. You have database properties, which tells you the properties of the database, and these all apply to the current tab. So this is the books, and it tells you that your database is public, and it tells you that your description, and it just tells you information about your database. Also, it shows you your contact email for this database. You can have a different contact email for each database that you have. And by the way, you can have more than one books database. So you also can decide which fields show over here on the left and across the table. For example, if we want to take the table fields and say we don't want to show author, then we can go up here. The left table shows all of the fields in your database. The right field shows the fields that show up in your table, and we're going to take author, and instead of removing it completely, let's just move it up one so that it shows before title. So now we say save changes, and when we save changes, close this window, you can see in the table now the author shows up before title. So it's the same thing with the view fields. When you view an item, you have these fields up here that show the item ID, title, author, and it's a list of fields that are in your record. Now we'll close that. Now in the view fields, we can specify the same thing. We'll put we'll do the same thing. We'll take author and move it down past Illustrator. And now we'll say save changes and say close. Now we'll look at this book again, and you can see that there's no Illustrator, so if there was an Illustrator, it would be moved down. So trust me on that. Okay. We'll find one with an Illustrator maybe. Okay, we're going to look at Illustrator. We're going to click on this box, and it's going to give us a list of books that have an Illustrator. So here's one right here. Okay, we're going to double click it, and now you can see that author is moved down below Illustrator. So there's an example to show that it works. Now we're going to clear all the fields again, get back all of our records, 804 records. The other things that we can do, we can edit these records. So we're going to pick this record, this book, and we're going to say edit. When we edit, it brings up an edit screen. An edit screen is made up of edit groups, and these are across the top, and each edit group has the fields, so you can group them how you want. We're going to maximize this window so we get more space. We'll just move this group out of the way a little bit. So when we want to edit this record, we just go in here and put something in here, and we can change it. And then once we change it, we can either hit this icon up here to save it. That shows that this record's dirty, or you can say save down here, and it will save that record. But this is a live database, so we're not going to do that right here. Now you can show, say, the image URL. When you click that, it opens that group, and we can close this group. We can close this. So what it does is it allows you to work the way you want by moving your fields, your edit fields, and opening just the groups that you're interested in. For example, you might want to just enter title and author to books real quickly, so this might be the only box you want open, and keep all the rest out of your way. You also have a description box that opens up that has the description. Okay, and we'll have another video that shows just this editing. It'll show this in more detail. Okay, we'll go back and restore the size of this window, close this edit window. Now we're going to look at another couple books. Here's a book, The Last Time They Met. Now we're going to minimize this window. You notice that it goes to an icon down here so that it saves where you were. We'll look at that book. We'll look at another book, and we'll minimize this window. So these books are minimized. Now when you want to, now we can go to music, and let's look at a music. Here's an Eric Clapton CD. Okay, we're going to minimize this one. So it doesn't matter where you're at up here. When I go back to this minimize icon, I click on it, it brings it back up so that you don't lose your place. We're going to have it go ahead and close this one. Now if we were working on this an hour ago, we looked at something and we forgot what it was, but we're just going to go back to our view history. When you do that, it shows everything that you've viewed until you clear this. So we can go back up here when we first started this demonstration and pick this book, and that's one of the very first books we looked at. So We'll close it. So these are all books that we previously looked at and closed. The bottom is books that we've minimized that we know we want to go back to. But we can clear this book, clear this history, and we can not show that history. We go ahead and open this one and open this one, and we'll just close both of these windows. All right. We can do things such as import data into this database. When we import, we get a window. It allows us to go and load a CSV file from our disk. We would click, we'd find our CSV file, we'd open it. We're not going to do that now, but we'd open it. It would load this table. It would allow us to go through this process of importing books. And once you import them, they're in your database and they're online, they're ready to go. You can export books. Here we have an export, and it's the same thing. You can take any fields and you can export them to a CSV file to your local drive. So when we say export all records, then what it's going to do is I just exported every record in this database to my local drive. So I just exported 3,100 and something records. Okay, the other thing, we can just batch edit. If I select a group of records, I can, my batch edit thing went away. Don't know why. So we won't batch edit right now. Here it is. There's batch edit. Okay, we'll pick batch edit. Now, what it does, it brings up the list of records to batch edit, and it brings up things that you can do to that. So, like for instance, for category, we can replace it with whatever value you want, and it will apply to every record. And when we say preview changes, it will show you what would happen if you wrote the changes to disk. But again, we're not going to write it because we're on a live system. Now we'll clear the unselect all. So this is basically what this database does. There's a whole lot of things you can do. It's just too much to mention here, but this is just an overview. If once you search, you need more to see more in the table, you can use this icon on the left to get more real estate, and then when you want the search criteria back, you click this. So the gist of this is that you can create online databases and you can share them with people. Let me show you that. If you have a set of books and you say select, view these items. Now you say somebody be interested in these 4 books. My Aunt Myrtle or somebody. So you can say send this URL to somebody. And here I'm going to send it to me. And I'm going to say send all. What this does is creates a link that when Aunt Myrtle gets this in her email, if she clicks on this link, which we're fixing to do, I'll show you that it creates a page that goes to exactly what you were looking at. It shows your book database in the background, and in the foreground in the window, it shows you your window that you were on. So that's what someone sees when you share a database. And you'll notice that they don't have any options to do anything else. They don't have options to edit because this is the view part of it. So let me close this window, and we're back to the grDatabase where we were. Close that and close that. So again, the gist of this is you can create online databases. You can create them easily. You can create them fast. You can create multiple databases. You can have multiple books databases. You can have user-defined databases. So I hope you appreciate you looking at this video. I hope you go ahead and create you an account, log in, and start creating some databases. Thank you very much, and bye.